Ow! Damn, that hurt. This stupid electric razor can't shave worth anything.
Thank you for calling the Gentleman's Groomer Support Hotline. How may I help you?
Yeah, I just purchased this Beardbuster 2000 and it doesn't shave well at all. I need to return it.
Oh, I'm sorry you're not satisfied with your product. Shall I direct you to someone who would be willing to help teach you how to use it?
What? No, it's a beard trimmer. I shouldn't need a college degree to use it, although it does have a lot of buttons on it.
Yes.
And it has all these stupid attachments.
To help you achieve the perfect shave.
Well, it hardly does that.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that, sir. May I recommend visiting one of our local stores and consulting with one of our certified grooming experts?
No, I just need to return it. I live out in the middle of nowhere. There is no local store near me. I just need it returned.
Well, I'm afraid that since you have already used it, we cannot possibly process a refund, but we can exchange it for the same model.
Wait, I can't refund it, but I can trade it?
That's correct.
That doesn't make sense!
As stated in the customer purchase agreement.
What purchase agreement?
On page 6, paragraph 27, subsection A, it explicitly states that refunds are not possible. After the product has been used, would you like to start the process to exchange it for another razor?
Absolutely not! This is outrageous!
There's no need to be rude, sir.
I'm never using any of your products again!
Please feel free to call again when you are calmer and more willing to have a civil discussion.
Wow, can you believe that guy?
Yeah, who would have thought that werewolves trim their beards?
No, I mean the customer service agent. He was pompous and rude, assumed the customer wasn't using it correctly, never asked what was wrong with the razor. He just didn't care.
Oh, yeah. That was a disaster. Definitely could have handled that better and not lost a customer.
Wait, if we're hosting the podcast and there was a dramatic opening skit, that must mean...
Oh no. They're having us host an episode of CX Horror Stories.
The CX Leader podcast was produced by Walker, an experience management firm that helps our clients accelerate their XM success. You can find out more at walkerinfo.com.
Hi everyone, I'm Sarah Walker.
And I'm Gary Cizeski.
And we're hosting this year's edition of the CX Leader podcast, Horror Stories. We like to say it's never been a better time to be a CX leader, but sometimes we encounter stories that simply make us cringe.
So once a year, we like to humble ourselves here at Walker by taking some time to listen to various stories of actual customer experiences simply gone wrong. It's a daunting task, but someone's got to do it.
All right, so what's our first story, Gary?
Well, this one involves something very familiar for many of us today, delivery woes. Diane Skirvin, one of our colleagues and no stranger to the podcast, describes how a popular home improvement retailer messed up a pretty simple delivery.
My horror story has to do with a big box retailer and a home improvement store where I ordered some semi-custom materials that they had to make, and they would let me know once they were ready for pickup. And the pickup / delivery process was a disaster. So we are converting a second room to an office in our house, and we need to add French doors and a transom window over the top of it. So I have a contractor that's helping us figure it all out and all the measurements and what we need. when I ordered the window and the door, the contractor was there with me, and we figured once it gets in, we'll figure out a way to pick it up. And then I get the notice that the materials are in and I can come pick them up. Well, just in a series of conversations with the contractor, we were worried that the doors were too big and too risky for us to transport, and that we needed either to rent a U-Haul or to have them deliver them to us. So no big deal, a little bit of a switcheroo on our plan. So I asked to change the delivery so it will get delivered to my house instead, and I'm no longer able to pick it up. And the first horror is they told me, well, we can't do that over the phone. To have it delivered to you, you have to come into the store and pay for it to be delivered, which defeats the purpose of delivery. So that was really annoying. I tried to get them to let me do it over the phone, and there's some kind of rule that they have in place that they can't accept some payment over the phone, even though every other company can. So that was annoying. Went into the store. It took way longer than it should have to put the order in. I had to go back to the building. The guy spent several minutes, maybe 5 minutes, with me sitting at the desk, putting in the order form, pulling it all up, putting the specifications in, finding the right day. I go to pay, and he said, oh no, you have to go to the front of the building to do that. So then I had to go wait in another line to go pay. So that was all done. Delivery gets scheduled for a certain day. The moving company is, I get the heads up that they're going to be here at a certain time. They put it in the right place. They give me the form and say, all right, you're all set, ma'am. And I look at the form, and they've only delivered one of the two pieces that they needed. And in the form, there's two sections, because I start asking the delivery guys, I expected the window as well, and there's no window here. And he said, well, it's not on the packing slip on the form. And I look at it, and it's not on one of the sections, but in the comments part of the section of the form, it says, please leave both items in the garage. So I said, well, but you see, it says there that there are two items. So is it possible for you to just go grab the other one and bring it back? Because I had scheduled the contractor for arrival to set it all up. And he said, no, we're not actually a part of the company. So you need to call them and get that resolved. So that was annoying as well. That's the third part of this story that was ridiculous. So then I had to call the company back, explain what happened, and they sent out the delivery for the second item, and that part was fine, but it's just it was an inefficient, painful, not customer-friendly process.
Well, that certainly was painful to listen to. How many times did you have to go back and forth between communications to the store itself, with the delivery? It's like there were many things going wrong there.
I can guarantee that Diane paid extra for something called like white glove delivery, only for her to have had to deal with that too.
Absolutely. And it's like, and how is it that, to me, in this day and age, you just don't have something as a simple online interface for getting this documented? Everyone already has their copies available. They can see what's been ordered. It gets over to the shipper, and now they can go ahead and confirm what's there before they even deliver it.
It really is like, in today's day and age, how can that go so wrong? But I feel like we've all had a similar experience. And the last thing you want to hear as a customer when you're frustrated in that situation is that the person you're interacting with isn't even empowered or doesn't have the right information to fix the problem for you, because it's lost along the way in translation. I can just empathize with Diane in that moment 100%. We've all been there.
Absolutely. It's like you're just going with, oh, great, I'm dealing with an independent person who's not even associated with them in any way, shape, or form other than to drive a truck and drop it off. Be nice if they were a partner that would at least allow them to go ahead and take care of some of these miscellaneous things that do occur in these types of deliveries.
Absolutely. And then on top of it, for Diane to have to go into the store, and those stores are huge, those types of big box stores, and walking around, not sure which desk. Whew. Not an easy experience at all.
CX should just be easier than this. All right, so what story do we have next?
This one comes from Bill Dougherty, and he gives us a kind of 2-for-1 story in what should have been a simple task of buying tickets and having them shipped, to him losing money and his son's vacation not going as smoothly as it should. Let's listen.
So my son purchased tickets through a third-party ticket broker to go to a concert for his favorite music artist who was going to be performing in Mexico City. Bought tickets to the concert, then bought tickets to go and vacation in Mexico prior to the concert. Third-party provider of tickets was delayed in getting the tickets to him prior to his departure, even though he communicated with them, hey, I'm now in Mexico City, please ship them here. They didn't. They shipped them to my home. I get them, recognizing the concert's in 2 days. I overnight them to him in Mexico City. I go to the store to have them shipped out. I am assured by the representative there that they are guaranteed overnight, not a problem in the world. Might surprise you, but shipping basically a couple of paper documents overnight is $150. $150 to ship tickets to Mexico City, but they're guaranteed to be there overnight. Next day, they don't show, so we start tracking. My son now is no longer enjoying his vacation. He is desperately trying to get the tickets, the whole reason for his vacation in Mexico, and trying to figure out how to get them, where to get them. They're actually in a town about 2 hours away, and so starts working to get them. It took basically another day. He does get them the morning of the concert, so he is able to attend. However, when I went back to the company that guaranteed overnight delivery, what I learned was the guarantee was more about guaranteed excuses of all the loopholes in said guarantee of why there will be no refund. And if I want to spend my life trying to get said refund, perhaps I would be successful. But again, I think we all have lives, and the $150 was not worth spending my life trying to recoup it. So I moved on from that experience.
Wow, Bill's story makes me kind of think that scalping tickets off the street might have a little bit less of a risk.
Absolutely. Whoa, what a story that was. Yeah, I've unfortunately been in a similar situation with concert tickets in the past, but nothing quite as extravagant as this. That was definitely a whirlwind. At least they did get the tickets. But, I mean, at the end of the day, what happens as a result of this? I mean, that organization has lost a customer for life. I mean, Bill's never going to go back to them.
Absolutely. I think that as consumers, everybody can have a little bit of empathy and understanding for when things don't go according to plan. But when something goes awry, and then you get the impression that all of these loopholes are in place to protect the company and not the customer, that goes a long way in damaging your reputation and the loyalty, for sure.
Yes, I completely agree. Unfortunately, a lot of times that caveat emptor, let the buyer beware, still comes into play way too often in our world, and it just doesn't seem like it should be that way.
All right, Gary, what's next?
So, being a company that relies on technology, we understand that things don't always happen exactly to plan or on schedule. And when dealing with online shopping systems, this can especially cause some issues. Well, Walker's own Tyler Morris recently experienced a problem with a less than stellar web developer.
My name is Tyler Morris. I am an engineer at Walker. So my specialty is in websites and mobile implementations and gathering customer feedback through those channels. So this particular client had rebuilt their website. They had a website, and giving them a little bit of leeway here. Building websites is hard, especially websites where people purchase things for thousands and thousands of dollars. And so they had an online purchase portal for their B2B customers to purchase things, and they wanted to improve it. So we were brought in after the redesign, sort of at the end, to implement some website customer feedback through the purchase process, through the browsing process, and sort of try to help them understand had their changes made an improvement, and how was their customer base responding to the changes that they made. And needless to say, the answer was that they did not like it. The website performance had gone down, things were not working as well, and we were kind of stuck between a rock and a hard place, because we could get them the feedback and tell them what was wrong with their website, and they knew where the problems were. But we had this third-party website developer who was doing the work and doing the fixing and just could not get anything fixed. And so it was just this wall of angry customers month after month after month. Yeah, that was kind of how the engagement ended up. We given them the feedback, everything was working really well for them, but their website that I know of, I don't know how much they were able to make it better or improve it, but that's the most angry customers that I think I've seen in one engagement.
We are so digitally spoiled these days that as consumers, we expect every channel, especially every digital channel, to be as easy as the people who are leading the pack. And that's particularly difficult for B2B, which I think Tyler mentioned this client's organization was part of.
Yeah, I agree, Sarah. Yeah, that's been, the stage has been set on how it should be done and how it should be done correctly. And boy, can't you just see the revenue lost, as the minutes and hours and days go by without having this issue fixed, for those customers that are trying to do these transactions. And they have a web developer who just apparently is not up to the task to get this accomplished for them.
Yeah. To Tyler's point, though, it's good to be able to collect the feedback. I think that speaks a little bit to what we know in digital listening, where a lot of times it's going to be very polarized, either super positive or more likely leaning way more negative. But the frustration has to be there when you're hearing from these customers that they're experiencing this issue, and you can't just get it over the finish line to get it corrected. So that's definitely a difficult spot to be in.
Completely agree. Hopefully they were able to do something to get another third-party developer to help them out and move things in the proper direction.
Absolutely.
What a mess. Okay. Please tell me we're done. I'm really not sure I can take much more of this.
Well, we have just one more story, and this one's a doozy. I'm sure many of our listeners have had their fair share of business travel difficulties, but our next story involves a car rental company that missed the mark so many times on the experience it's painful to hear. Our friend Carrie Meyer from Qualtrics brings us this horrific tale.
A horrible experience is I was traveling this week and I got a rental car, which worked fine the first day. The second day I went out to get in the car to go to meetings and the key fob was totally dead. And I thought, oh, whatever. So I took out the skeleton key so I could open the car and get in the car, but I couldn't get it started. So even with the fob right up, on the sensor, it would not start. So I had to call the company, which in and of itself took 12 minutes to get through the tree to get to talk to actually a live person. And this woman told me
you need to open up the key fob and clean the battery. Maybe the battery was dirty and it had something in it. And I'm like, whatever. And, I had allowed 30 minutes to get to the office because I had meetings. I was traveling for meetings. I wasn't traveling, just to hang around. So I was on a timetable. And so I'm like, fine. So I hang up and I open up first of all, you have to figure out how to open up those weird key fobs. Open it up. The battery is soaking wet. So somehow there's water in the compartment. So maybe when they wash the car, I don't know. So I go to the bathroom and I use the dryer and I blow it all out and I rub up the battery to make sure it's nice and clean, put it back in there, go back out to the car. No, it's still totally dead. So now it's time for my meeting to start. Now this is taking a half an hour. So I'm already late, which I'm super annoyed at because the whole reason I'm traveling is to go to these meetings, not to be in the garage with a dead car. Call the rental car company back. It takes another 10, 11 minutes to get to someone to speak to. And supposedly they have kept my information in a case number. But every time I call and I talk to someone else, I have to tell them again what the issue is. And so I tell the person again, I have cleaned the battery. It does not work. My opinion is that possibly the whole key fob is bad because there was liquid in the compartment. Now I have two choices. Well, we can send a tow truck to pick up that car and you can ride in the tow truck back to the airport, which is where I picked up the car, which is an hour away, and get a new car and then go to your meetings. And I'm like, are you kidding me? That would be like a 3-hour ordeal for me. I said, I am not near the airport. I picked up the car at the Salt Lake Airport, but I am now in Provo, Utah. I'm an hour away. And you're telling me the solution is to take 3 hours to ride in the tow truck. And the kicker was, she said, and that would be at no cost to you. And I'm like, are you kidding me? Like you thought I was going to pay for the tow truck? So she acted like that was such a big favor she was doing me. So I was amazed that this was the solution. And I said to her, that is the solution for a dead car? It's not like I wrecked the car and it's my fault and I should pay to tow it back. And she said, yeah. And I said, I can't take 3 hours to do that. I'm here for work. I'm stuck in the car garage currently. So then she puts me on hold and she goes and talks to somebody and she comes back 5 minutes later. Well, I have another much better option. Great. And I'm thinking she's going to say, someone will deliver a rental car to your property and you can take an Uber to work and go on your way. No. My next option is I can find an auto parts store somewhere in the Provo area, Uber myself to the auto parts store, buy a new battery, put the new battery in, go back to where the car is, and maybe it will work, and maybe it won't. And if it doesn't work, I'm yet again left with the riding in the tow truck option. And I'm again like, wow. First of all, I have no idea where there's not. I'm sure there is an auto parts store in Provo, but I don't know where it is. So I was so frustrated at this point. And I was trying to be nice, but I'm sure I wasn't. So I basically just told her, okay, if those are my two options, I'll figure it out. But in the meantime, I'm now an hour late to going to the office. Hang up. And thankfully, there was one of my colleagues was at the hotel still, got a ride into the office. So I do a couple of my meetings and I'm just so mad the whole time. And then I decide, you know what? Even if I get a new battery, it's very likely it's still not going to work. So it'll take me an hour and a half to go to the auto parts store to go back to try it. So I'm like, that's not a good option. So I call back and I say, okay, send a tow truck. You take this car away. I said, however, in the meantime, I have Googled the rental car company and there's a rental car office literally 10 minutes from where I currently am. It's not your big place at the airport, but there is one in a little neighboring town. Well, we're kind of franchised and that's not part of, I can't do that. I'm like, that is absolutely the stupidest thing I've ever heard. And I kind of put up a big fuss and told her I was not riding in her tow truck back to the airport. And so she goes off and talks to a supervisor, puts me on hold for 15 minutes, comes back. Okay, I have contacted this other rental car company that's still part of the same organization. It's not like she's sending me elsewhere. They will have a car for you. Great. Okay. You send the tow truck to get the car. I'm going to go get my new car on my own and it will be done. Well, if you have the key fob on you, you have to go back to where the car is and meet the tow truck driver. Why do I have to do that? The fob is going to do nothing. I will drop off the fob when I go to the airport in 2 days. If you don't return the fob within 24 hours, we're going to charge you for it. So I borrow a car from a coworker. I drive back to the hotel, 15 minutes. I sit and wait for the tow truck guy. He comes, I give him the fob. And interestingly enough, I have told them 4 times the car is in a parking garage. So the poor tow truck guy can't get his tow truck into where the car is. And I kind of feel bad for him because he does not know what situation he's been put in. So he and I kind of brainstorm for a little bit. And then I'm like, dude, I am sorry, but this is on you. He's like, yeah, go. So I leave him the fob. I go back to the office. And then they're supposed to send someone there. The rental car company is ordering a Lyft for me to take me this 15-minute drive to pick up a new rental car. I get a text that the Lyft is ready. I go out front. There is no one there. I call for the 5th time to the rental car company and go through their decision tree. And it takes me 8 minutes. And a new person picks up. And the new person still doesn't know what's going on. And I give him my case number. My car is dead. The tow truck has come. I'm supposed to be getting a ride to pick up the new car. Well, it looks like they sent the Lyft to the Marriott and they give me the address. I'm like, that is not where I am. So she set up the Lyft driver to come and pick me up at the wrong address, and they had it to take me to the airport. So not only was the pickup wrong, but the delivery was wrong. So then they have to locate a different Lyft driver. This happens 3 times, and every time I have to call back the 1-800 number to the rental car company to go through the decision tree, to get to a new agent, to tell them what's going on, and that I still haven't gotten picked up. So at the end of the day, it took me 1 hour and 15 minutes standing out front of my office, waiting for the Lyft to come pick it up. 3 different tries to get them to pick me up at the right address. Somebody finally comes and I get my rental car. So it took just over 6 hours of dealing with this rental car company that day to switch out a dead car to get a new one. It was the most ridiculous, horrifying thing I have ever done, and I missed every meeting I was supposed to be in town to do on my business trip. That was a day. It was a day.
Well, Sarah, I don't even know where to begin on that one. That was quite the ordeal. A simple car rental that just turned into just a mashup of mistakes and can't get it right in any way, shape, or form. I'm just stunned. I don't even know what to say about that. That is so bad in terms of overall customer service. Every step of the way, there were so many steps that I could have gone, well, why didn't we do this? Why couldn't we have done that? Like I said, I don't even know where to begin. What about you?
I am right there with you, Gary. I had the same feelings throughout Carrie's entire story. I thought, okay, this is going to be an example of an agent who just isn't armed with the right empowerment to give the customer a solution that's going to fix her problem. And then Carrie comes back with their initial solution after talking to the supervisor. And I'm like, oh, we better buckle up. We are in for quite the story here. Unbelievable.
I never would have expected that when you sign up for a rental car, it's like part of the deal is that now you have to be signed up as part of the repair service associated with it as well. Pretty incredible. Why don't you go run to the store and get a battery and fix it?
And the whole coordinating of the ride share, it's like codes exist. Why don't you just give them a code or a credit directly to their account? What a mess.
Oh, yeah. And the fact that they had another car rental agency 10 minutes away, that whole thing could have been figured out very easily, 30 minutes tops, and you've got another rental car on the way right around the corner from them. Amazing.
Carrie's story makes me think too, with just the calling into the phone tree every time. I wonder if this organization captured any of her feedback throughout the process and is learning from this mistake. I wish I could say I have faith, but I'm not too sure on this one.
I'm gonna guess no.
Okay, that's it. I'm done. No more horror stories. I don't know how they convinced us to host this one, Gary. I'm out.
Well, not so fast, Sarah. Sitting here listening to these stories actually brought to mind my own CX, actually PX horror, because the 6 hours that Carrie was talking about kind of happened to my wife recently when she was at the hospital. She went in for a hip replacement surgery, and the doctors, the nurses, all the caregivers, they did just a fantastic job. Can't say anything more about how well that went. But where it all went wrong was on the administrative end. They set us up and said, hey, here's what you need for your insurance. And they gave you the forms that fell out. And Sherry was very diligent in being sure she had all the T's crossed and the I's dotted when she handed all the forms in. And you know how you get a case manager assigned to you when you're at the hospital. Well, Sherry went in early on a Friday morning. So they had all day to do whatever they needed to do, this case manager, in order to be sure things were set up for her to be discharged from the hospital if things went well, which they did. So she should have been discharged on Saturday because things just went so swimmingly. Turns out some case manager on Friday late afternoon wrote some note and said, oh, they don't have insurance for an in-home medical visit, which was never given to us in the first place to go ahead and document to begin with. That whole process takes 10 minutes because it's all about taking out the staples from the surgery, but it only takes 10 minutes to do that. So it's a very quick little process. But because of that paperwork snafu, Sherry spent 6 hours in the hospital the day after her surgery trying to talk to different people coming and going to see if they can get this figured out so that she could get home. Turns out they had the surgeon involved with this, and he was very upset about the whole situation. He basically said, let's get her out of here. It's like she has no reason to be there. She can actually just come to my office. We'll take care of it there. This is just a 10-minute thing. As it turns out, they couldn't do that because of all the processes that they have and the different things that they have to do to get filled out. So she had to spend another night in the hospital, incurring all those additional costs that shouldn't have been on there that now insurance is going to have to pay for the most part. But she did get home finally on Sunday, and she's actually recovering very well. But anyway, hearing Carrie's story reminded me of that little occurrence.
You just hate to hear that. I'm thankful, one, that Sherry's surgery was successful, and that, two, she had, good bedside manner with her nurses, with her surgeon. But to have and be caught up in all of that silly red tape when the last thing you want is to be stuck in a sterile hospital and not home in your own bed with your own things, what a bummer. And to your point, Gary, it's like the insurance company is also losing in this case, not just Sherry, with the mix-up and the snafu. I'm sorry to hear that happened.
Yep. Unfortunately, I'm sure that's not the only time that's happened in that situation. And think of all those additional costs, and we wonder why our insurance is so expensive.
Right. And, cost control is a big reason why organizations want to be listening to their customers and understanding, how to serve them not only more positively, but more efficiently. So sounds like there's a couple things we could learn from this one.
Yep. I think one of it is stop being so married to the process and think about the people and the situation. And as long as somebody has a little bit of empowerment to make a decision, you can get by the rubber stamping that has to happen, it seems, at every stage of every transaction that you have.
Yeah. And you think in your specific scenario, the surgeon would have had that authority. So totally agree. Maybe they'll learn from it next time around.
I hope so.
Well, I think that's enough for this year.
I agree. That was a lot to process.
We want to thank Diane, Bill, Tyler, Carrie, and you too, Gary, for sharing their stories. If you want to talk about anything you heard on this podcast or about how Walker can help your business's customer experience, feel free to email us at podcast@walkerinfo.com. Remember to give the CX Leader podcast a rating through your podcast service and give us a review. Your feedback will help us improve the show and deliver the best possible value to you, our listener.
Check out our website, cxleaderpodcast.com, to subscribe to the show and find all our previous episodes, podcast series, a link to our blog, which we update regularly, and contact information so you can let us know how we're doing.
The CX Leader podcast is a production of Walker. We're an experience management firm that helps companies accelerate their XM success. You can read more about us at walkerinfo.com. Thank you for listening, and remember, it's a great time to be a CX leader. We'll see you next time.